People who are large in scale are always going to go through a lot until they reach the throne room, okay? And the throne room is a metaphor. Stay with me. Very powerful message. This message will change your life in ways you couldn't imagine. Now, I'm going to use two people as an example, one biblical and one secular. I'm going to use Joseph as an example, and then I'm going to also use who I always use when I talk about this type of subject, Beyonce. I think she's a great example of this. Joseph was large in scale. His design was large in scale. He was a large in scale human, meaning he had a lot of internal power, a lot of gifts, a lot of qualities about him that were very vibrant. Now, because Joseph was large in scale, what happened to him when he was around his brothers? They sold him, right? After they sold him, they lied. They lied to their father about him and brought that little cloth and made it look like he passed away, right? Joseph ended up being king. When Joseph was king, that was his right position. That was the position that he was supposed to be in. And God got him there, thank God. But Joseph, his design, because he's large in scale, he's supposed to be on a throne. His aura, his essence, his calling, who he is, he's supposed to be sitting on a throne with guards, with a right-hand man, a left-hand man, a castle, security, not in close proximity to individuals, handpicking his connections. He is king. There are some, and guess what? Not everybody's large in scale. Okay, this is just like the chosen one topic. Not everybody is large in scale. Okay, it doesn't apply to everybody. This is a specific group of people who have had specific experiences. That's why when certain people are like, oh, well, you're always talking about, why don't you just let that stuff go? That's not, okay, ma'am, that's not the case for you. You're not a large in scale person. People don't know if you're there or not. You blend into the wall. Okay. Okay. So my messages are usually for people who are like, okay, wow. Okay. Listen to this description and tell me if it's you. Did you have a history of being sabotaged more often than the average person? Do you have a history of repeated humiliation rituals by your family and friends? Did you have a history of a trail of people for some reason that is constantly keeping up with your next move? Even if you're not connected to them, people are always, it's like you'll have conversation with people and they'll bring up something to you that you never shared with them, or they'll bring up a photo of you that they saw online, but they didn't comment on it, they didn't repost it, they didn't share it, but they saw it and they're mentioning it to you. Or people are always hyper focused on your next project and what you're doing next, and they want to see how they can get in the way of that. This stuff doesn't happen often to everybody, but to the people that it happens often to, you fit in the category of somebody who is larger in scale. You are a large scale person. You are a large scale person. And when you're a large scale person, there are certain ways that you're supposed to live your life because you're not very digestible to tiny groups, small groups. Like the large scale person is going to go to a church and get humiliated by the whole church. The large scale person is the person at the job that gets fired in front of everybody and everybody's like smiling about it. The large scale person cannot be accepted in these like group spaces. Large scale people have to be exposed to the masses at a greater, more powerful length where you get to cherry pick who's allowed around you and you get to cherry pick who's in your environment. And the other people that do get to see you, it's from a distance though. Okay. And you're safe because it's from a distance, right? These are large scale people. I guess you can call it celebrity energy. That's another thing. If you have celebrity energy and you're a large scale person, you're safer. Like the more you can be exposed to the masses, but from a large scale, meaning no one can just pick up the phone and call you, right? No one can just get next to you right away. Proximity to you is difficult because now you're larger in scale. That's better because you're safer. But when large scale people don't take off yet, and If you don't resonate or align with my teachings, then my content is not for you. Avoid commenting, subscribing, or interacting. Instead, go to a page where you resonate. If you comment something foul, disrespectful, or like something foul or disrespectful, you will be blocked. I will also block you if you comment any contradictory to my message. I don't post for your agreement, so please think about that before you run and comment, I don't agree. Think about that. It doesn't matter. I post what I am led to post. Your agreement or okay was never needed. I don't need your permission. Let's get into it. People are in a lot of proximity to them, family, friends, all this stuff. You're gonna get treated badly more often because people can feel that you're larger in scale, and they can tell that there's a bigger future for you, and that's why you experience that. So, you know, one of my ladies that I work with, she's so amazing. On this brand, I work with her, and she told me something that really, really, really touched my soul. And I told her, I asked her, do you gatekeep like your personality? Do you feel like you're fully standing in your power? Are you fully yourself? Because I want you to be fully yourself wherever you are. I want you to be fully you. And she said, well, Mel, I'm not fully me all the time in certain spaces. And I said, why? She said, because I don't feel like I have to be. I said, that's interesting. Why? She told me, she said, Mel, I don't want to be connected to everyone. Most people will not be able to digest me anyways. So when I know that, I don't feel the need to like overexpose and overshow my powerful essence. It's not needed because I know I don't want to be friends with these people anyways. So I don't even feel the need. I kind of just stay in my corner. And I'm like, wow, I never thought about it that way. I learned something new today. That's a very interesting aspect to have. So she knows that she's large in scale, right? She knows that she's large in scale, and she won't be digested by most people. Listen to this description and tell me if it's you. Did you have a history of being sabotaged more often than the average person? Do you have a history of repeated humiliation rituals by your family and friends? Did you have a history of a trail of people for some reason that is constantly keeping up with your next move? Even if you're not connected to them, people are always, it's like you'll have conversation with people and they'll bring up something to you that you never shared with them, or they'll bring up a photo of you that they saw online, but they didn't comment on it, they didn't repost it, they didn't share it, but they saw it and they're mentioning it to you. Or people are always hyper focused on your next project and what you're doing next, and they want to see how they can get in the way of that. This stuff doesn't happen often to everybody, but to the people that it happens often to, you fit in the category of somebody who is larger in scale. You are a large scale person. You are a large scale person. And when you're a large scale person, there are certain ways that you're supposed to live your life because you're not very digestible to tiny groups, small groups. Like the large scale person is going to go to a church and get humiliated by the whole church. The large scale person is the person at the job that gets fired in front of everybody and everybody's like smiling about it. The large scale person cannot be accepted in these like group spaces. Large scale people have to be exposed to the masses at a greater, more powerful length where you get to cherry pick who's allowed around you, and you get to cherry pick who's in your environment. And the other people that do get to see you, it's from a distance though. Okay. And you're safe because it's from a distance, right? These are large scale people. I guess you can call it celebrity energy. That's another thing. If you have celebrity energy and you're a large scale person, you're safer. Like the more you can be exposed to the masses, but from a large scale, meaning no one can just pick up the phone and call you, right? No one can just get next to you right away. Proximity to you is difficult because now you're larger in scale. That's better because you're safer. But when large scale people don't take off yet, and people are in a lot of proximity to them, family, friends, all this stuff, you're gonna get treated badly more often because people can feel that you're larger in scale, and they can tell that there's a bigger future for you, and that's why you experience that. So, one of my ladies that I work with, she's so amazing. On this brand, I work with her, and she told me something that really, really, really touched my soul. And I told her, I asked her, do you gatekeep like your personality? Do you feel like you're fully standing in your power? Are you fully yourself? Because I want you to be fully yourself wherever you are. I want you to be fully you. And she said, well, Mel, I'm not fully me all the time in certain spaces. And I said, why? She said, because I don't feel like I have to be. I said, that's interesting. Why? She told me, she said, Mel, I don't want to be connected to everyone. Most people will not be able to digest me anyways. So when I know that, I don't feel the need to like overexpose and overshow my powerful essence. It's not needed because I know I don't want to be friends with these people anyways. So I don't even feel the need. I kind of just stay in my corner. And I'm like, wow, I never thought about it that way. I learned something new today. That's a very interesting aspect to have. So she knows that she's large in scale, right? She knows that she's large in scale and she won't be digested by most people. Makes sense. This sounds like me, so please don't try to discredit my experiences because you're a smaller scale person and these kind of things don't happen to you. I'm talking about people who are large in scale. That's Joseph. He made it to his throne room and I'm sure life got more balanced because he went through all of that because large scale people are not supposed to be accessible by the masses. Not the masses, by small groups. They are supposed to be experienced by the masses, by people from a distance. Meaning Joseph was king. You can't just call King Joseph. You can't just show up to King Joseph. You can't just grocery shop with King Joseph. He's King Joseph, right? So you can't really, he's from afar. You have to admire him from afar, and that's his safety. Because look at what happened to him when he was around people in close proximity. Look at what they did, right? It's the same thing with Beyonce. Beyonce has to be on a stage. Because she's large in scale, she has to be on a stage where people can admire her with their phones and buying tickets and stuff from a distance, and you get to see her on that stage. There's ropes, there's security, there's protection. You can't really harm her, right? And her family and friends that truly love her and that can handle her scale are the people that get that close bond. But everybody else, you got to admire her from a distance. Because people who are large in scale will be harmed if they're not in their throne room, right? Now, because they're not average humans, they're like superhumans, right? And a lot of people got upset when I said that most people would not be able to be friends with Beyonce. And it's like, the problem that I have with a lot of people, with humans, is how much they lie about things. It's like people are so egotistical and they lie so much, men and women alike, that the proof is in the pudding. Tina had to put Solange in therapy. I have 2 daughters. One daughter is a superstar. I have to put my other daughter in therapy. She had to put Solange in therapy to ensure that there was not any friction between her and Beyonce, and she can handle this fast acceleration that her sister was on. So if Beyonce's own sister had to go to therapy to digest being in proximity to her, why would you, a total stranger, be brave enough to say that you would be able to handle being around her? But this is how people lie. They lie like crazy. And people don't understand that when I'm talking, of course I'm not talking in extremes. There are exceptions, but again, unless you're mentally dwarfed, I don't have to keep saying, I don't have to pad my messages with some. Padding your messages with some, that is for the mentally inferior people who cannot grasp concepts without you speaking to them in kid gloves. So I'm not going to pad my messages with some or not all. Okay, this isn't, I'm not even going to go there. But what I'm saying is, her own sister had to go to therapy to be able to handle the scale that Beyonce was on. So why would you, an average person, get upset when I say there is a high percentage that you would sabotage that young lady if she was in your proximity? This is human design. It's not personal. Men would abuse that young lady. If you dated a Beyonce, you'd be beating her with a hanger every day because you cannot stand her beauty in the way other men look at her. I'm talking to the men too. But again, people will lie and constantly lie. When I study the human design, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? And the people that get to be around those large-scale people, especially if you're a believer, God's going to have to handpick your circle. God's going to have to cherry-pick your circle to protect you and your anointing so that they don't remove you before your time, because large-scale people cannot be digested. So when I made that comment that said most men and women love Beyonce, but they would never be able to be friends with her and they would never be able to date her, and the only way that they cannot harm someone like her is to admire her from a distance and go to her concerts and stuff where there's security and ropes and you can't really call her, you can't really talk to her directly. That's her safety, right? I said that, and some people felt good about it, some people felt bad about it, some people didn't like it, right? Because some people don't like the truth. And when I made that statement, what I was trying to talk about is, because I knew I was going to bring up I was going to introduce a new way of seeing things to you guys, and that's large scale people who are larger in scale. So someone like Beyonce, because of all of her attributes, she cannot be digested unless it's on a stage separated from thousands of people and they're just in the crowd. That's really the only way that she can be digested and be safe from harm, right? Because people who are large in scale, people cannot digest them in close proximity, right? People can only digest them with distance in between. It's only people who are also large in scale, or people who knew them before they became who they were and loved their talents and didn't try to beat them down about it, like their mom or their dad or their sister, or people that, know the real them and always loved them with their gift and talents and never felt any way about it. Those are really the only people they can have around them. Everybody else has to see them and enjoy them from a distance. And a lot of people, humans, don't like this type of conversation, these kind of conversations sometimes, because it cuts so deep because it's so real. And people have never heard it put together the way I'm putting it. So it really makes them think. Most humans are not capable to digest a large-scale person. You will harm them. You will. In some way. You're going to start doing something, right? That's the human design. You're going to feel some type of way. You're going to start doing something. And to protect themselves, these people run in specific circles and they stay around specific people and they're careful with their connections because they know these rules that I'm saying right now. They've learned it. Some of you guys are the underdogs right now and you're a large in scale person. So listen to this. Large-scaled people, okay? If you are a man or a woman who's large in scale, okay, I'm going to talk about this topic a lot this week so you guys can have a deeper understanding. I don't think anybody has ever heard of this terminology in reference to a person, to people, but many people need to know this, right? Because there's a percentage of humans that fit the large scale and they're very lost right now. So I'm doing this video will be your refuge to understand what you are and what you're capable of and your design and how life is going to work for you. Okay. So when a human is large scaled, if you are a large scaled person, you're large in scale. That means that you cannot be digested in tight spaces. What does that mean? The large-scaled person is the person that got treated badly and highly sabotaged by family, friends, coworkers, ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, your next-door neighbor, your boss. You got humiliated and you got used and, you got sabotaged. There's the word. You got sabotaged by these people who were in close proximity to you, right? But then when you take off on a larger scale, meaning your gift and talent is exposed to the masses, right? A mass group of people, you take off immediately. You take off immediately like a missile. And it's like, wait a minute. Why did I go through all of that? But now that I'm exposed at a larger scale, I am enjoying the fruits of my gifts and talents. Why now? Because you're large scaled, my dear. People who are larger in scale cannot be digested. They cannot be digested with tight spaces. Okay, you'll notice that everybody who becomes big in life, they have the same story. It's the same story. If they talk to you about their past, if they talk to you about their family, if they talk to you about their old friends, these are people who had a history of getting sabotaged and treated badly by people who were close to them in their past. And the reason for that is because they had the sauce all along. It just couldn't be digested around those tiny miniature connections. They can only be digested in larger scales. And Beyonce is a perfect example of this. Beyonce, Michael Jackson, I use Michelle Obama as an example a lot, Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Sebi, all these world changers, right? These world changers or hyper talented people, you would not be able to be friends with them. A lot of people get extremely highly offended when I say this. You would not be able to be friends with them. You wouldn't. Because these people cannot be digested in tight spaces. The only way they can be digested is by their parents who love them, their siblings who love them. Like we saw the way Janet and Michael were so close, it was all love. Only people who genuinely love them and knew them before they took off and love them with their talent and with their gifts, they were always loved since beforehand. They were always loved. So when they took off, the love still stood there, right? But outside of those small hand-picked groups of people, you would not be able to be friends with them. You can't handle them. They can only be handled in large scales. When Michael Jackson would take that stage and start moonwalking and doing all those amazing, talented things that the average person can't do, you would sabotage the hell out of him if you knew him personally. Yes, you would. You would. Most people would. Because when a human is large in scale, when a person is large in scale, you represent what most people could be, but they feel like they can't. You are confident in your gift and talents. You're a bright star. You're a bright star, right? So you guys have to understand this concept for the people that are talented and you are in your underdog season right now. You haven't been exposed to the masses yet. For you all who are in your underdog season right now, you have to understand the large scale concept. You can only be digested in larger scales.
I had a video where I said something that ruffled a few feathers. I said that, and I used her as an example. I said that many people love Beyonce. Many women admire her. Many men, find her sexy, whatever. A lot of people, she's a fan favorite, right? Because she has beauty, brains, talent, eloquence, class, all of that, right? And I said most people like Beyonce, but they would never be able to be friends with her. They would never be able to date her. Correct? Most people would not be able to digest her if she was in close proximity to them. You can only digest someone like that from afar. That's what I said. It ruffled a couple of feathers. A lot of people got upset about it because people don't like to hear the truth. But what I'm saying is the human design and human nature is textbook. People can try to make it seem like they're so different. I'm not a part of that. They're so this, they're so that. But at the end of the day, most people's confidence is not where it needs to be. And I know that for a fact because people are not working on themselves. People are consuming, right? You can consume all day long, but most humans are not working on themselves because when you're working on yourself, it doesn't really give you a fast, quick result. You don't know what results are going to come from you working on yourself, but you do it anyways. Because the whole point of life is evolving. You're here to evolve, not stay the same. But most people are not working on themselves. So because I know for a fact that the majority of humans are not working on themselves, only a small percentage of humans are doing the work. That means that most people don't have confidence. They are wearing a mask, right? They're wearing a cloak. Most people are not confident. The only time you can tell if somebody is confident is when somebody of high bandwidth, of high caliber, when someone who takes up a lot of space comes in, if they're able to digest that person. Most people, their confidence only works when they're around people who are lower than them or non-threatening. They think that they're confident, but they're not. A lot of women are not confident. You think that you are. But when a woman who's a triple threat walks in, you can't take it. Most men think they're confident. I'm confident. No, you're not. Because when you date a woman who's a full package, you're trying to break her down. You're not confident at all. Most people are not confident. I stand by that. I say that. I didn't say all people aren't confident. Most people have no confidence. And I stand by that. No one can change my mind on that. Okay? Because I see humans, I see people, I see how they operate in life, and a lot of them do not have confidence, and their actions are a huge indicator of that, okay? So, I said that most people would not be able to be friends with Beyonce, right? Because she has a large bandwidth, she's very large-scaled, and she can only be digested from afar. Most people would not be able to be shoulder to shoulder with her and not feel small. Okay, now people are going to lie and say, oh, that's not me, I can. No, you can't. I'm sure you can. There's a small percentage of people that can, and I highly doubt you're one of them, right? So I had a phone call with a wonderful girl chat client, and she was telling me about what she was going through in the industry that she's in. And how men felt very threatened by her, women felt very threatened by her, and, just a lot of sabotage, humiliation rituals, all that stuff. And I told her, well, you have high bandwidth. You're large scaled, right? So because you're larger in scale, you can't be digested in small environments or around tiny groups of people. You're only going to be digestible at large mass scales. Meaning when your business takes off on its own and you're working on your own and your business takes off and you're the face of your business and God gives your business that push and he puts it out there, then you're going to be digestible. People are going to love you for the qualities that you're hated for right now. But because you're not on that large scale yet, most of the people who are in proximity to you, because you're large scaled and you have a large bandwidth, you're going to be broken down and sabotaged a lot because you were not created to be digested with smaller scaled spaces, right? And that's why I always say a lot of the people that you guys see are big on social media, big in the music industry, big in the acting industry, big in whatever industry they're in the tech industry, whatever. All these people that you see are big names in specific industries. They were hated by people closest to them before they took off. I hope you know that. All of the people that you see are big on social media, big on TikTok. These were people who were the most hated when they were in high school. Right? These are the people that people bullied when they were in middle school, high school, and college. And it's not because something was wrong with them. They got bullied because something was right with them. I promise you, if you message majority of your favorite content creators, these were the people that people in high school, college, middle school, elementary school, their family members treated them like trash. I promise you that. And the root of that was all jealousy. Message your favorite content creators. Send them a DM.
I promise you, they all have the same story because they cannot be digested in small scales. They're too powerful. They're too talented. They're too witty. They see life from a different lens. They cannot be digested in those tiny neighborhoods and those tiny families because those people can't take it. But when they get exposed to the world, to the masses, to society, people are like, wow, where have you been all my life? Finally, somebody gets it. And now they are going to be rewarded for their talents and gifts. But in small scales, they're going to be persecuted for it. Okay, so back to Beyonce. People like Beyonce, Michael Jackson, DMX, these people could not be digested in small scales because they're very large-scaled individuals. So when they're exposed to the world, they gain quick momentum because they're the full package. So a lot of you guys, you're the full package because you're not exposed on a larger scale yet. That's why I keep telling you guys, keep your head down and keep working hard. Because once you pop, right, and God gives you the push and he pushes your brand, your business, what you're doing, once you get that push, you're going to pop and you're no longer going to be bullied, but you're going to be elevated and appreciated. Because what you had was too powerful for that small environment in a small scale and your hometown people and your family. They were very jealous, so they couldn't handle you. Like I always tell people, my supporters are people I don't know. The people that monitor me and stalk me, these are people that I went to high school with that were mad at my intelligence, men from the past, family members, just a bunch of losers, right? And they tried to break me down because they couldn't handle my power because it was at a small scale. So now when they look and they're like, wow, she really took off and she's actually liked, now they're like, well, how come I couldn't process her the way that the masses are? How come I couldn't see the good in her? Because you're a small scale, right? So when I use Beyonce as an example, I always tell people Beyonce has to be where she's at. If she wasn't where she was going to be getting abused by humans because she's the full package. So if she didn't work hard to get to where she is, where she could separate herself from the masses and have the resources to protect herself from dealing with low-tier people that want to constantly break her down, her life would be very difficult. That's why if you're a large-scale person, you should be working hard at getting away from your environment and working hard at creating that separation so you can finally breathe, because you cannot be processed in those small environments. So when I was having this call with this girl chatter, she literally told me, but Mel, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm not digestible for some reason. All the people that I work with, they feel intimidated. They can't take it. I said, honey, keep working on your business, my dear. Keep working on your business. You're not digestible at small scales. Those people don't matter. Don't worry about them. They don't matter. They're going to try to come back later on, but they really don't matter. What matters is you getting to that large scale. Right? And that's going to happen by continuously working on yourself, upgrading yourself, increasing your value, and building your business until it pops. And then once it pops, you're no longer going to be dealing with that anymore. As a matter of fact, these people are going to come and apologize to you and see how they can get in connection with you again because you got the sauce that they lack. And hopefully you reject them. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm a strong believer in if they weren't with me at the bottom, you're damn sure not going to be with me at the top. That's just not going to happen. I don't believe in rewarding people for being hateful. But if you want to give them a chance when you pop, hey, that's up to you. But keep working at what you're working on because you have a large bandwidth, right? You're large scaled. So you're never going to be digested in those small scales. And I'm saying that to tell you guys listening to me, if you're someone where you feel like you get bullied a lot, you get tore down a lot, people bring you down a lot, people try to make you feel bad about yourself a lot, there is a high probability that you're a large-scale person. And you can only be processed at large scales, around large crowds, with large masses. You can't be processed by the individuals near you because they can't take you. You're too powerful. Your essence, it's too heavy for them to take. Your intelligence is too heavy. You're too talented, right? So you cannot be processed in those small scales. That's why I always tell people who feel like they're very gifted, please keep working, keep your head down and keep working. Okay, so you can get to that large scale where you can skip the nonsense and not deal with crap anymore because you're finally at the level where you can reject most people, right? Your proximity is no longer open, it's closed now because now you get to cherry pick who's in your environment. And you're processing things at a larger scale. People get to experience you from a large scale, not an individual one-on-one scale, because you're not the kind of person that can be digested by most people, right? That's why as people work hard to increase their value and go up the ladder, they start separating themselves from the masses. They start getting closer to people who are also large-scaled, because another large-scaled person isn't really going to have a motive. You know, like it's very rare that a woman who is, let's say a woman is a surgeon and now she's friends with another woman who's a surgeon and they're in a friend group all sitting on table. All the women on the table are doctors and very healthy marriages, very healthy lives, very, very established in their lives. They're not going to deal with the crap that they would deal with if they had to sit on tables with men and women who don't have their accomplishments. They're not going to have to deal with the jabs and the subbing and the shade, and they're not going to have to deal with that because we're all accomplished here. So what are we shading each other for? I'm a doctor, you're a doctor. There's really nothing to compete over. There's really none of that. There's none of that. So these people purposefully avoid the masses and align themselves with people who are on their frequency, on their wave, to avoid problems. Right? And you can't take that personally. You know, there was a time where I had to, get that through my head that if I'm not at a certain level, there are certain people who will reject me because I'm not on their scale yet. And because I'm not on their scale, they don't know if I can be trusted, right? Because I'm not on their scale yet, they don't know if I can digest them. So to protect themselves, yes, they're going to reject me. And they should, because I'm not on their scale yet. So they're not sure if I'm going to be a liability or not. By human nature, human design, humans tend to go after people that are ahead of them. That's the human nature, is they want to pull you at your ankles and pull you down to where they are, right? So the elite, they know this rule, which is why they run in specific circles. They run with other large-scaled individuals because they don't want to deal with you and the antics that you're going to start because you have a problem with them being ahead of you. That's why you have to align yourself with people who are where you are, because you don't want to deal with the nonsense that the people who are not where you are going to come with. It's not worth it. That's why these people, they run in specific circles with other large-scaled people, because they don't want to deal with you. They don't want to deal with your antics, right? They don't want to deal with you feeling insecure because of what they have. They rather run with people who also have what they have, that don't feel insecure about what they have because they have it too, right? These people are very good at protecting themselves. They protect themselves at all costs. So if you get rejected, don't take it personal. It's their way of protecting themselves because they don't know if you have the bandwidth to handle the bandwidth that they're at. You know, I remember I had a friend years ago. Her parents were very, very successful. I met her in passing at a job. I was like 17, 18 at the time. She was actually one of the models for one of the events at this restaurant that I was working at that time, because that restaurant was a very nice restaurant. They had like models at the door and stuff like that they would pay. And I met her there and we started talking and we just started I was always walking around working out the front and she was at the door. So when the restaurant wasn't full yet, me and her, we would just have conversation, talk about life, talk about boys, what 17, 18-year-old girls do, just talking. And we ended up exchanging numbers. She ended up leaving the restaurant. I think she She resigned. She didn't get fired. She resigned. She's very beautiful. The lady that hired her started feeling some type of way and started treating her badly. So she resigned, but we still kept in contact because we had each other's phone numbers and we added each other on Instagram. So we would be in contact here and there throughout the years. And then finally one day, she's like, hey, Mel, you should come over and we should go to this party or whatever. Because she was dating a ball player at the time. And I said, yeah, sure. So I drove over, and when I pulled up to her house, my mouth fell on the floor. Okay, my mouth fell on the floor. This house didn't look like a house. It was a town. I was like, whoa, okay, her family's cashed out. Whoa, right? So I pulled up, and I came and I said hi to her parents. I met her mom. I met her dad. And her mom was so shocked to see me. And her mom was like, oh my God, I'm not going to say her name, but her mom was like, oh my God, my daughter finally has a friend. And I found that so odd that her mom would say that, because I'm like, well, her daughter's also very popular online because she's a model. I don't really understand why she's shocked about this. Like, shouldn't she have a lot of friends, right? But her mom said that, and it really stuck with me. And when I started to get to know my friend a little bit better at that time when we were friends, she said, I usually don't bring girls into my world because of the jealousy, right? And it's dangerous. Also because of, I'm a model. I don't want people to go online. She said, I usually don't bring girls into my world. But when I met you, I got a good vibe from you. And when we started talking, I started getting to know you. I liked what I was hearing. And I felt like, yes, I can invite you into my world. It's not a liability to have you in my world. And I'm like, whoa, so this is how people in this category, this is how they operate, because they don't want to connect themselves to anybody that cannot digest them. Because if somebody cannot digest you, they're going to start problems. That's when the humiliation rituals, the negging. Nobody wants to deal with that crap when you're increasing yourself. If you can't take me, stay away, right? I'm not going to put myself on the line for your insecurities, because you're going to start acting really crazy, and I don't want to deal with that, right? And those people in those categories, they understand that. They understand the risk that comes when they're large-scaled. They understand the risk that comes with connecting with someone who is not large-scaled. Those people, humans by nature, tend to tear down who's ahead of them. That's just the way that they are by design. Unless they are self-actualized and they're like, you know what, I want to learn from this person. I like this person. I want to align with this person. It's very rare that somebody cannot get dangerous with a larger scaled person. So aside from that, for you guys who are listening to me, if you are somebody who is larger in scale, you're large scaled, you are usually the black sheep of your family, the black sheep of your friend group, the friend that doesn't really get invited, the person that gets bullied, the person that gets booted out. But keep working on your talent. Keep working on your gift. Because once God says, all right, let's go, and God puts, the foot gets put on the gas and you take off, you're going to realize, wow, I had the sauce all along. I just couldn't be processed by such small scaled people because my essence, my energy, my aura, they couldn't take it, right? It's not until God pushes you to the top that you see humans from a different perspective when God increases you. Most, like I said, based on my experience in life, most humans have no confidence. That's what I've realized about them. They're highly insecure, men and women alike, and they cannot digest people with large bandwidths. Okay, so certain people, you're not designed to be clicked up and connected and all shacking up with the people from your neighborhood, the people you went to high school. No. They can't take you. You need to keep your head down and keep working so that you can get to a point where you're larger scaled, more exposed to the masses, and now you can be rewarded for your gifts instead of bullied for your gifts. Okay, people like Beyonce, people like Michael Jackson, most people love these people, but you can't be friends with them. No, you wouldn't be able to digest them. You don't have the confidence to be friends with them. They're too much for you. Your insecurities will come to the surface. You would start feeling some type of way, and then you'd probably try to sabotage them. Let's be honest. You would not be able to be shoulder to shoulder. You would not be able to have Beyonce pull up in her Bentley truck with a driver saying, hey girl, let's go get drinks. And you walking out of your apartment, going down the stairs, and you're in the car with Beyonce, and her pretty blonde hair is all curled, and she's smelling real nice, and she's looking all expensive. You know you would not be able to stomach being next to her. You would feel overshadowed. You would feel small. You would feel irrelevant. If Kelly Rowland could admit, allegedly, I don't know if it's true, if Kelly Rowland could have admitted to feeling jealous towards Beyonce, and she's part of Hollywood, you who are not, why would you think you would be able to take her? If you're self-actualized, maybe. But that's a tiny percentage of humans that are actually self-actualized. And people will hear this and say, oh, why are you bringing people down? I'm not bringing people down. I'm talking reality. I'm speaking the truth. People are liars. Men and women are habitual liars about the reality of life and about the reality of who they are. They lie a lot. So if you don't know the truth about people, about human nature, I was having this conversation. Who was I having this conversation with? I forgot who I was having this conversation with, where I told women to not really listen to men because men are liars. A lot of them will sit there and say, I want a woman who's like this, who's like that, who's proper, who covers up, who's this, who's that, who doesn't show much, who doesn't know a lot of men, but you're going to cheat on her with the OnlyFans girl. A man will say, I want a woman who's beautiful. I want a woman who's confident. You get with her, you start breaking her down, and now you're insecure. Oh, I want a woman who's smart. I want a woman who's intelligent. You find a woman who's smart and intelligent, and then you cheat on her with a dumb broad, right? But men, they lie a lot. So it's important to not look at what they're saying, because their actions always show the opposite. You claim you like sexy women, but then you marry a plain Jane that looks like a man, right? Your wife looks like a man, right? There's no sex appeal. She looks very manly, very rough around the edges, plain Jane. And you kept saying that, oh, I want a sexy chick. I want a hot chick. I want a good looking chick on my arm. But then you go and you marry a woman who looks like a man, right? No, she doesn't, no elegance. She just doesn't curl her hair. No femininity, none of that, right? Because you're lying. You're a liar. In reality, you want a woman who appears more manly because, one, you don't have the confidence to go out with a woman who looks good because you know she's going to get compliments. That's going to hurt your ego. Two, you don't want her looked at by other men because you're afraid she's going to leave you. And three, you want her insecure. So it's important to not pay attention to what men are saying and look at the results of their lives. That's all you got to look at when you're dealing with people, because people are liars. Look at the results of their lives, and that'll tell you what you need to know about them. It's all about observation.
You have to be willing to weaponize your masculinity as a woman. Masculinity is not bad. Masculine energy is not bad. I don't know why people keep saying that. Masculine energy is the ability to reach a goal. Masculinity is what? Goal-oriented, structurally, orderly, being able to show up on times, precision, logic, rationality. Nothing about that is bad. So with the October spooky season coming around and holiday season, make sure you guys are okay being the villain. Yes, villainhood is a real thing, and that's what this class is going to talk about. We are going to speak on the characteristic traits and approaches you have to take when you are no longer living your life to be accepted and validated by people while accepting their bad behavior. Sometimes being the protector in your book looks like being a villain in another person's book. It's all a psychological mind game. If you don't choose yourself, if you don't choose your happiness, if you are not unapologetically you and winning without feeling apologetic about it, guess what? People are going to view you as a villain. But if you already walk in villainhood, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is going to be a good class, especially in conjunction with weaponizing your masculinity. You have to get comfortable with being viewed as a villain. You need a strong mental mind to accept people villainizing you because you are being and doing your best.